I want us to picture two scenes. The first, the roar of the crowd is electric. Tens of millions of people look on in awe as they witness history. 6'7" wingspan Michael Phelps powerfully attacks the water. With each stroke, the distance between him and history grows shorter and shorter. The hours he has spent in the gym, the days in the pool, the early mornings, the late nights, the pain, the sweat, the tears, they are all coming to a crux in this moment. 50 meters, 30 meters, 10 meters, touch. It's over. He basks in the ecstatic praise of the crowd as he etches his name in the history book as the single most decorated Olympian to ever live. The second scenario takes place far from the metal podium of London. That same man with the same 6'7" wingspan finds himself arrested and convicted of DUI. Being released shortly thereafter, he spends the next 5 days in his room in the dark, alone, drinking and contemplating suicide. How does this happen? How does the greatest Olympian, the greatest athlete to ever live, how does he get to this point? One moment he's having a gold medal placed around his neck. The next moment he's having handcuffs placed on his wrists. One moment it feels like the whole world is behind him in that stadium. And the next moment, he couldn't feel more alone. How do we get here? That's what I want to explore today. Athletes face immense internal and external pressure to perform at the highest level possible. They are constantly having their performance measured and compared, and they are very acutely aware of this comparison. These athletes, scared to disappoint themselves, to disappoint others, their family, their teammates, their friends, their coaches, they begin to hyperfixate on their performance. They see their value rooted in how they perform. Simple losses become far more than simple losses, as individual failures become long-lasting damage to their perceived self-worth, as they feel that this is a direct reflection of who they are. This comparison and this hyperfixation has created a sense in them that if they do not perform, that's who they are. They feel that failure becomes them. But the problems don't stop here with comparison. I want everyone in here to picture with me an athlete. What does an athlete look like for you? The chances are that the picture that you just conjured is fairly tall, lean, and muscular. And that makes sense because that is what we have been told an athlete is. Society has set this gold standard that that is an athlete. And to be an athlete, you must measure up to this standard. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Each sport requires a different set of skills, a different muscle group, different abilities that are all going to culminate in a different athlete. They all culminate in a way that forms a different individual. But yet we still compare them to the same gold standard. We hold these individuals who are rightly unique. If they were to look like the person next to them, they wouldn't be the athlete they are. They wouldn't perform in their sport. When they look at one another and go, my muscles aren't as toned as his, my waistline isn't as small as hers, I don't look like that. That's for a reason, but we still hold them to the same standard, and we allow them to suffer because they see this comparison as who they are. I remember taking my sister to gymnastics when she was little. And I would sit in the crowd and I would just listen. I'd listen to the people around me, particularly the athletes, the kids. And what struck me was children as young as 7 and 8 years old would walk up to their coach, snack in hand, and ask, can I eat the calories in this granola bar? That's heartbreaking. A child who has just left the second grade is already looking at their body, at themselves, at what they eat and saying, is this going to shape me into what they want me to be? Is this going to form me into this ideal standard? The second grade. We're allowing it to start at such a young age, and it just continues to stack and stack. Where are we going to be? Where is that child going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? What is their perceived self-worth going to look like? Beyond this, athletes just face immense mental pressure to perform and to put on this facade of unwavering strength. For as long as I can remember, my coaches have told me, push through, be strong, don't let them see you waver. Don't let them see that you're struggling. And that's okay when it is purely physical activity, when I am just pushing through the struggles of physical activity. Because that just culminates in nurturing determination and grit. And these are all virtues to be applauded. We should be investing in this. But in all my years of athletics, I cannot remember once someone taking the time to show the difference between pushing through physically and pushing through mentally, between showing determination and burying our emotions in an unhealthy manner. To think about this better, let's think of it in the terms of dirty laundry. I am admittedly horrible with laundry. When I get home, I'm tired and I just want to go to bed, and I throw my dirty clothes in the laundry hamper. And that's okay in the short run, that's fine. I can get by, but I do it night after night. I throw the clothes in the hamper again, and I do it again, and I do it again. And eventually, if I don't wash those clothes, that hamper is going to fill up, and it is going to spill over, leaving my room a mess. Emotions act in a lot of the same way. We are told as athletes to push through, to not show weakness, and to just push them away. Just keep moving forward. So we put our emotions to the side. Out of sight, out of mind. We push them away. And we do it again. And we do it again and again. And just like the laundry, it stacks. And eventually, it is going to overflow. It's inevitable. And we are left to pick up the mess that's left behind. We are left to deal with the effects of this spill. My dirty laundry story came 4 years ago. I am an athlete. I love basketball. It is who I am. I love it. I have been an athlete my whole life. It's where I feel the strongest, the most confident. It's where I feel like myself, the deepest, truest version of myself. And I love having that. But I began to love it too much. I rooted my entire identity in this sport, in how I performed. That became me. I was my sport. And I just continued down that path, and it brought me immense joy in the moment. But eventually, I learned that that immense joy can become immense pain. I suffered a season-ending injury, and suddenly, I didn't have that. I didn't have who I had become, who I was rooted in. I was lost. I was broken. I didn't know how to function without my sport because that was me. Most nights you would find me alone in my room, isolating from those I loved, crying because I was angry. I was angry at the world, and I was angry that I felt so much pain. And for 18 months, no one knew. Because I had been taught my entire life to push through, to just put it aside, and I hid it from the world. If you would ask my neighbors or my teachers or my friends, how's she doing? They'd have told you, she's doing great. She's having fun. She is loving life. That girl is always smiling. And that's true. That was what I had let them see. That was who they thought I was, where they thought I was. But it couldn't have been further from the truth. In reality, I was broken, but I didn't let them show or see it. I was broken, but I didn't show it because I was scared that I'd be seen as weak. I was scared to fail because I had been taught that to let people in and to let them know that I was struggling, that was weakness. It took people I love reaching out to me and me opening up to them and saying, I need help. It's what every athlete needs in that situation. They need help. And I know the simple solution seems like just clean the laundry. Just recognize that these habits that we're forming, they're damaging, that they're harmful, that we need to recognize that we need change to fix it. But it's not that simple. We've been taught for so long, indoctrinated, that we need to be unwavering in this facade we've put on, that it's not as simple as just fixing the issue on our own. Let's bring this back to Michael Phelps. How do we let the world's greatest Olympian, the single greatest athlete to ever live, how do we let a man who has everything, a family, the nicest house, the nicest car, he knows all these athletes, he goes to the best parties, he has everything, right? No, he was alone in that room, feeling isolated. How do we fix that from happening? How do we keep that from being a reality? It's not going to be easy. But my challenge for everyone in this room, for everyone that watches this, my challenge is that we would understand that these athletes are facing so many pressures to look a certain way, to think a certain way, to be a certain way, to fit this standard, that we would recognize that they are carrying so much weight because of what we have told them they need to be. We need to go to athletes. We need to reach out to them and say, I see you. I hear you. How are you? Because for those athletes, sure, you see 43 minutes of them on a court, see an hour of them on the field, but that is an hour out of their life a week. What's happening outside of that hour, outside of the success on that field? Where are they at? We need to go to them. We need to show them that they are valued and to start these conversations. Because even though mental health, the discourse surrounding it has increased, we have lagged behind in the area of athletes that need so much help for someone to just reach out to them. We need to be the change. Because for every gold medal moment, for every time someone stands on the podium as everyone cheers, for every gold medal moment, there's also a moment where an athlete is sitting alone in a room, dark, afraid, and feeling isolated. It's up to us to change that. Thank you.